So I'm back on site again. I don't know if I had a bit of camera issue again. I think my battery went out, so I didn't actually show you how far we got. But basically, if I turn you around, so they're all dug out to the line, and then I've literally got this little bit to square off into that corner, and then just get rid of this pile of stuff, and then some cleaning up to do down here where stuff's fallen in. Had a bit of a change of plans. Just spoke to my dad, and I thought, by the time I've done this, probably going to be cutting it fine for setting out the footings for the extension. You don't want to rush that because it's quite important. You want to take a bit of time to make sure it's all square, because if it's not, everything's just a pain in the nuts. What I think I'll do first, plus everything's at a funny angle, so it's coming off here in line with the building like 3 meters, so it's going to be quite tight, and I need to set a profile somewhere here. And if I do all that and then realize it's in the way for the footings for this retaining wall, then I'll have to all come down again. I'll have to remark everything, so it's probably a big waste of time. So what I'll do is, I think I can manage setting this lot out, because it's just basically a straight line. I'll string from back there and then extend the string line through to when it just touches that brick there, and then start marking out and digging that instead. So rather than filming me digging this last bit of crap out, I'll just skip forward. So the next we'll be looking at setting out the footings for the retaining walls and the underpinning. I'll go through the plans with that and show you what needs to be done, because you're probably bored of digging by now. I definitely am. I can't wait. Mind you, still gonna be digging the footings, but at least it's a different dig, is it? I don't know. But anyway, progress. So basically, if you see that existing wall there, what I've done is I set up a string line just where that next step up is, but obviously held it flush to the wall with some bricks. And then I've pulled the string line all the way to this end of the garden, and I've brought the string across until it just touches this front edge corner here. So then we know that is perfectly in line with that existing wall. And I've put my pin in there, so that should be exactly in line with the corner edge of that wall there. So now what I'm going to do, I might have to just explain what I'm going to do it, and then do the next step for me. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to plumb down from there and make a mark on the floor. And then, so it's going to be a retaining wall with it's going to have 2 brick piers every so often. I think it's every 3 meters, I think. It's got to be every 3 meters. So a 2 brick pier starting here, but this will probably get rendered eventually, because it's not going to match. We're having some nice brick here, so it's not going to match our wall. So I thought if we stepped in half a brick there, and that's the outside face of our pier, then you'd have half a brick on show, and then the start of our new wall, 215mm wall, would be the edge of this brick. So then you'd have half a brick step rendered, pier, and then another half a brick step, so it sort of all looks the same steppage. You know what I mean? Yeah, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a 600 wide footing just to be on the safe side, and well, I'm going to go a minimum of 300 thick. We're in good ground, so I don't think we need to go mad. And like, I reckon the wider it is, the less chance it's got of rocking. So yeah, I think I'll do that. So I'm going to establish the outside line of my footing. So I'll find the center of my wall first, which is the center of my wall will be 107.5 mil from there, from that point there to there. That'll be the center, and then I'll come 300 this way, mark there, put a peg in, do the same on that side, put a peg in, string a line quite close to the floor, which would be nice, and then spray it with the spray paint, and then that's my first footing line to start digging. And then once I've done that one, we'll start marking out this long one here, and we should be, you know, have a good old crack at this afternoon. Yeah, so I'll do that now, and I'll explain what I've done again. So where my pin was in there, remember, which showed the face of that wall, stepped in half a brick, and then the half brick pier, plus the center of the wall took me to 315 mil. So I plumbed that down at 315 mil from that point onto the floor, which was by there. And then our bucket's going to be 600, so I've gone 300 to the inside of that peg. So now on this side, the edge of that orange pencil, the inside edge of that orange pencil is the center of the wall. And then I just measure 300 there and bang a peg in there, so I'll do that now. So there we are, 300 to that pin from the edge of the pencil. So now I just have to string a line between this peg and that peg, and then I might have to wet this ground out because it's like the Sahara Desert here today, and when you try and spray paint it, it just blows away the dust. So I might go and get the hose, wet this line up a bit, spray it, and then really I can start digging. So there we've got the outside of our footing marked. Now all we got to do is establish the depth. I'm doing a 600 wide because it's having a 2-brick pier, and I want a bit of play in case, you know, a bit of tolerance. So that should be more than enough. And 300 deep, maybe a bit more, 350, something like that. And that should be ample belt and braces, I would say. So yeah, I think the minimum is 300 deep. So if we go a little bit more, 350, that'll do, I think. So now we just got to establish. We've got our finished floor level is out on the outside, is that patio there. So if I set up that, and then we'll go brick below ground level, first, so that'll be 75 mil plus 350 is 425. So same drill as I showed you before. Make sure your spikes are in the ground nice and firm. Level the tripod like I showed you before, and now I move it by where our finished outside floor level is going to be, and bubble in the middle and a solid beep. So we obviously, that is ground level outside, so we want at least a brick below there, don't we? One course of brick, I would say. I'm half tempted to do two, but is that just more work for myself? I should be fine. 75 plus our, what did I say? 350 plus 350 is 5. 7 and 5 is 12. So 2 carry the 1, and then 4, 2, 5. So at the moment we are on 900 and what are we on there? 910, 20, 30. Tell you what, to be safe, yeah, let's call it 930. So 930. And then we've got to add on, what did I say? 425. So 930 plus 425 equals 5, 5. 9 and 4 is 13. So 1320. Sorry, 1355. So 1355. That's got to get moved. So we got to move that now up to 1355, which is there. And I tell you what, because we were a little bit past, let's go to 1360. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So if I mark that there, that's where I've got to put that, and start digging, I guess. So yeah, I've set that up to 1360 now. So all I got to do is start that end, dig, 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 and then keep dipping it until I get to my laser beeps, and then I'm down to the required level then, and I just keep pulling it back and checking as I go. Then you want to try and keep the bottom of your footing as level as possible, and also when you're digging, sometimes it obviously it doesn't always dig true, like plumb that way. So at the end, I always like to square it off by hand with a chisel. It's a big chisel, spade, because if you imagine, so I still see a lot of people just leave like a scallop, but what can happen, especially with the retaining wall, is all that weight is pushing on this wall, and if you've got a rounded footing like that, it can start to roll forwards. But if it's perfectly square, it physically can't really move anywhere, especially if you're in nice hard ground, which we are, because we're already down to the clay already, because we dug so much out. So yeah, happy days. We'll get on with it now. Right, so I thought I'd show you what I'm going to do to mark out this retaining wall going along here. There was no post on the corner of that fence, so I didn't take this down because I was worried about the stability of that. even though there's a post there. But anyway, I didn't want to, whatever. So yeah, what I've decided to do is I'm going to dig this foot into where it stops retaining earth, about there. And then, because I don't want to really tackle this job now, obviously I'm going to have to dig, we want to carry this wall through to that corner with a pier and connect this fence to it. So this run all looks nice and the same. So I'm going to stop my dig here. And then obviously when I come to do that, it's not a massive job. I could probably dig it by hand, so we won't need the digger, because that would involve going onto their property, and I don't really want to do that. So I could probably just dig that by hand, mix the concrete in the mixer, and join on with some resin fix and rebar. So forget that for now. So we're just going to dig to there, all the way up there. So now I've got the face of the wall, which is, I've set up a string on a screw at the face of the fence, and I've obviously got to pull it up through here, and they want the fence put exactly back where it was, which is fair enough. So that pin represents 600 mil from the face at this end of the wall. So what I'm going to do is measure 600 off that pin, plumb it down, make a mark on the floor, pull my string through and whack a peg in there, tie off the string, and then spray, probably not all the line yet, because I don't know if it's right yet, yeah, spray to about there and there, because what I want, because there's going to be a 2-brick pier in this corner that we eventually attach the neighbour's fence to. Really, there's not a lot of things that are square on this build. As you can see, this wall is not square or parallel to anything, just goes at a straight line angle. This, however, corner where it goes into this corner and down does look relatively square, and because we're going to have a brick wall going into a pier there, a square pier, really, without it looking a bit Shaka Khan, we want it to be square in this corner, really, don't we? Because it'll look nicer where this bit of wall joins into the pillar going that way. So I'm going to have to do the first line to see how square it is. So, and to do that, we're going to do the 3-4-5 method, which is, I'll go through now on a piece of paper or something, or on the wall, to explain the science behind it. It's all very well saying 3-4-5 is that it works because that's why it works, because you can also do 6-8-10, you can do 12, 16, 20, depending on how big. It's like, you know, if you went 3 meters that way, 4 meters that way, basically when you join those 2 points up, it should equal 5 meters. But like, this is a massive wall, isn't it? It's long. So, you know, if you want to test up with a bit more accuracy, you could do 6, 8, and 10, couldn't you? And so on, so on. Can be inches, feet, centimeters, millimeters. Be a bit difficult to do millimeters, but you know, if you're making like a tiny house, maybe for an ant. So yeah, I'll set that pin up, check it on site now, spray my line in, measure. Well, it's only the footing we're doing now, so we'll do 3, 4, 5 for now. 3 meters, 4 meters, 5 meters, and see how far out it is, tweak the line. But the only real way we can tweak it is in a bit, if that's possible, because we don't really want to be tweaking out if it's like, it's not going to be that far out, I'm sure, but I'm sure they won't mind a couple of mil encroaching. But just to get this wall square, we're going to have to do something. Okay, so I'll get on with it now. So set up my string lines, did the 3, 4, 5. I had to ring my old man because the customer was on a call. He popped over. We were a tiny bit out. It was just over 5, so it's slightly over a right angle. But to be honest, it's garden wall. The minuscule amount it is not going to run into that pier square is not going to be noticeable. That's all by the human eye. So my dad says, stop being fussy, which is rich coming from him. So I'm just going to basically plumb down from that intersection, which gives me the face of this wall and that wall. And then that's the outside face of my brick wall. So to come find the center, I have to come this way 107.5 mil. Then plus from the center of the wall, it's 300. So it'll be 407.5 mil from the point I plumbed down there to the outside of my footing. So yeah, I'll get that marked up now. So I've marked out my footing, got the digger ready in position, dumper ready in position, taking all the string lines down so we can get out of here. Paying very close attention to where my profile is because I do not want to dislodge that. Otherwise that would be a bad day. So yeah, I'm going to start in this corner, drag it back, and go from there. Just having a lovely cuppa. And then I had a load of questions to ask the structure engineer. So that front bit might well change again. So just trying to weigh up the cost of the different options. So I've got, but I can't speak to him yet, so I'm waiting for him to get back to us. So I'm just going to crack on with this for now. Get rid of that for the rest of the day, and then tomorrow I'll be starting. I can at least start these footings. So get on with it now. Well, whew, little bit sweaty Betty. So, oh my God, it'll stay on me. It's home time, thank God. I think my camera rang out. Oh my God, pinky beard. Whoa. You can't see it, but all the water flicking off my beard. You can't, what was I saying? Yeah, I think my camera ran out mid-dig here, yeah. So, show you what I've done and then what the plan is for tomorrow. So, I've dug the footings to there, and then I'll just square that off by hand neatly, so I can joint onto it to do the remaining little bit to the fence there at a later date. I don't want to start that now because, you know, you got to be mindful of budget. All this work wasn't actually on the original job. Things have grown, so rather than starting that, because through there is like someone's driveway, which means breaking that up, blah 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 blah. So it's not essential. The most essential bit is retaining this earth here first, and then that can get added on to a later date. So yeah, I got this done. The reason I'm so sweaty, oh bloody hell, stones dropped in already, look, is because I just had to dig this last bloody bit out by hand because you can't get the digger in on the corner very well. So yeah, yeah, this is pretty much, except a load of stuff's knocked in there, but that'll all get cleaned up before the concrete wagon arrives, because what you don't want is like big stones like that anywhere near the bottom of your trench, and you want to square it up pretty well, square up most of your edges so the footing can't roll. With all the weight pushing that way, it can't roll. So we're still Still waiting on the structural engineer to get back to us. He's given me my number, so hopefully he'll ring me at some point. Nothing heard of him yet. And what I should have done before I bloody poo-poo. I was meant to square that up before I put this profile board in, so that's going to be really awkward. Well done, Tom. Yeah, so we're still waiting for answers on this, and it's mainly going to be because we've got this steel work to go in, but obviously there's discrepancies on the drawings. You know, it clearly shows a step there. There's a step in reality, there's a step there, but on the plan it's flush. And there's no sort of detail of what the makeup of this infill bit is to make this up to, you know, U value regs, and you know, so like I said, I think it's easy just to take the lot out and start your new cavity wall off starters there and have that as all brand new, and then you don't have to try and underpin under a wall that's already in situ then. But again, it all comes down to costs. So I've noticed this drawing shows them flush, and this drawing shows it below the existing floor joist, and that's a 203mm lintel. So that would be from there 203mm down, you know, and plus the plasterboards and leveling the ceiling, you know, it's going to be quite a big step, and ideally you don't want that. So it's all questions we got to ask, and it all depends on how much extra work it'll add to the job. But so we can't really start the footings for the extension until you get them answers, really, because if they do want to take out this section here and that nib, then our profile will have to be moved anyway to here, and it won't change the building line or anything, but that'll be redundant, so that'll have to get moved to there and restrung to there. So it's pointless starting that yet, because I'll have to re-square all the rest of it. And so the only thing we can crack on with tomorrow is this will still need underpinning on it by here somewhere. So we'll work out where the center of our wall is there, and then mark 450 that way, 450 that way, to give us our 900 square directly below the center of that partition wall at the back of the garage. And then I'll probably dig, because obviously I'm gonna have to get in this hole as well. So from the center of the wall, it would be 450 this way out. But then I'll probably just might even need more than 600, but I got to get my bum in there somehow. So I reckon I'm going to come to about where that bucket is there, and then shutter off with some OSB board, backfill it, and then fill it with concrete after. So that's the plan anyway. I'm going to go home. Fancy a beer. Right. See you tomorrow.